Um, like always, I'm going to do my very, very best to keep within the 30-minute time frame. I do want to do the 5-minute breathing mindfulness practice at the end, so I'm going to really work hard to allow that to fit in. I do have the time scheduled to go past 30 minutes, so it will not cut off. So no worry there. And it's just whether or not you folks have time to continue on. So welcome to today's webinar. It is Monday, April the 13th, and I am thrilled to have this opportunity to yet again join with all of you energetically through this lovely technology and for us to spend some time together. I'm just going to spend a minute introducing myself in case those that watch this live or on YouTube do not know who exactly I am and what I do. So my name is Karen Spencer, and I am a life coach, and I practice, and I'm the founder of a business called It Can Be Different that is focused on emotional transformation using a number of different techniques and theories and coaching practices. I work with clients to transform them out of primarily negative emotional states into more positive emotional states, and then into their goals that they wish for with their life. And I'm happy to say that I have just trademarked a new coaching practice. It's called Rewire Your Mind, and it will be launching very, very soon, and you'll be hearing more about that in the near future. So I'm hosting these bi-weekly webinars, live webinars on Mondays and Wednesdays at 11. So you can always join in with the same code that you used today, or you can alternatively go and register yourself, and you'll be part of the webinar series as we move through COVID. As we move through this transformation that we're going through collectively and individually, we can have a chance to come together and experience this. So as with all things that we do, we should really check with ecology. And what do I mean by that? And ecology is we ask ourselves, is what I am doing, the behavior I'm taking upon, the state that I'm in, etc., is it good for myself? Is it good for my family? Is it good for society? So, as with everything, let's check in and make sure that these webinars hit all three marks. And they are good for self because it's time for us to kind of step back and reflect upon what's going on for us emotionally, and to learn some tools and techniques to process that. Definitely good for family because we are part of that very tight, unique group, and now we are together even more than ever. And how we resonate, how we show up, the state that we're in greatly affects our family. So we want to make sure that we're in the best state possible to help with their health and their transformation and their processing this as well. And then for society, this is very beneficial. This time together and the work that we do together is very beneficial for society because we are elevating our vibrational rate. We are elevating our resonance. And collectively, that has a tremendous effect upon the world at large. And I think I talked last week a little bit about some of us being a little stressed out about the fact that, I'm not a doctor, I'm not on front lines, I'm not in the grocery store helping in that environment, I'm not a truck driver delivering necessary supplies. I am not, maybe I'm not a scientist working on a much needed, much wanted, anticipated vaccine. So that is not my role. So what is my role? And I'm telling you all very much from my heart and from what I know is that our role to be doing our own internal work is very, very important. And it is contributing to the greater good and is contributing to the process that we need to go through together. So this has benefits for self, it has benefits for family and our close-knit group, and it has benefit for society at large. So I believe it has great ecology, and we should continue on. So it's very good time right now, meaning right now, for us to just take a moment and just relax and just check in with self and just ask ourselves, what is the primary emotion that I am feeling right now? And just ask ourselves, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a negative emotion. We may be waking up today feeling relatively happy and in a good spirit, And that's great. And to recognize that and welcome that in is important. We may also, however, be waking up with some nervousness, or we may be, if we really ask ourselves right now, we may be tuning into maybe some anger or maybe some fear. And so it's just a moment right now for us just to settle in and say, okay, what is my major emotional state right now? And I am just going to be aware of that. And that's all we ask right now is just awareness. And just to say, give it a name if you can. If you can't, that's okay too. But just to have awareness of what it is that I'm feeling at this moment. And just to say, okay, welcome fear. Hello, I know you. We've met before, and welcome. And I'm going to welcome you, and I'm going to encourage you to show up in this half hour. Or welcome anger. I know you. I am familiar with you. We know each other. We've met before, and that's okay. And I'm going to welcome you and allow you to show up and sit with me for this time. Or welcome positivity. Welcome joy, whatever it is. I know you. I'm familiar with you. I've met you before. And I too will sit with you and just allow you to be with me right here, right now. The idea is that we want to have awareness of our emotions, and we want to welcome them and to allow them to be present, and for us to have knowledge of their presence. So what I believe is that in the transformation that we're going to undergo together in the next number of weeks, that there really is 3 phases or 3 steps to emotional transformation. And the first step is emotional awareness. And that's what I just talked about. And there's a lot of exercises that one can do to really get in touch with our emotional being, as opposed to pushing it away or hiding from it or dumbing it down by distraction. So that's step 1, is emotional awareness. Step 2 is asking and digging and learning from these emotions, because there's an awareness, or excuse me, there's a learning, there is a piece of knowledge, there is a piece of wisdom that these emotions are conveying to us. So that is step 2, is to do some work with regards to what is the learning, what am I to be aware of, what am I to learn here, and then step 3 is to transform the emotion or to release it. Because we know primarily with negative emotions, we do not want to be sitting in those negative emotions for long periods of time. And we talked a little bit about that last week, and we'll review that again now as to why negativity is not an emotional state that we want to stay in for long periods of time. So let's just briefly recap what we talked about last week, so that we can move forward. So last week we moved on to the concept of emotions, and we really wanted to get across the idea that emotions should not be scary or be something that we feel is unnatural. That is kind of the point that I was really trying to make last week, was that they are not unnatural, because emotions are just chemistry. They are the residue from a thought or a memory. So it is natural that they show up, it's expected that they show up, it is anticipated that they show up, and we should encourage that and be happy that they do. So if they're chemical residue from either a thought, current thought, or a memory, then they are correlated directly to what kind of memory or thought we are having. So if we are having predominantly a happy thought, a thought that's in alignment with what we want in life, a thought about living life to its fullest, a thought that's in alignment to our magnificence, as I like to say, then the emotions that associate to that will show up for us are predominantly happy or higher resolution, higher vibration emotions. Same with the memory. If we are having positive memories about our past, about what's happened, if we're kind of anchoring into those memories, then again, the emotional state typically and will be that one of a much better, higher vibration. If, however, we are thinking something that I like to say is away from our magnificence, if we are focused on what we don't want to show up in our life, if we are focused on the negativity of something showing up. So it would be predominantly worry, or predominantly what we like to call we are just going over and over in our mind about a negative state, and we're obsessing about it. If that is where our attention is being put on, then typically our emotional state will be that of a negative state. And these emotions, if they're chemicals, then what we will do is we will feel that chemistry in our body, because the chemistry will show up to match our emotions and to match our thinking. So we will typically show up we will feel the negativity of that state. So we will feel the worry in our body. We will feel the stress in our body. We'll feel the anxiety in our body. We'll feel the overwhelm in our body. And then what happens is that because now we're feeling the emotion, and we are so aware of it because we actually feel it in our body. We feel the stomach nervousness, or we feel the heart rate pounding, or we have awareness that we can't sleep. Then what happens is that our attention is drawn even more to that negativity, because now we're really focused on what we're feeling. So now we are what we called, and we talked about it last week, is this emotional looping. We are now obsessing about it because we can feel it in our bodies. That makes our attention grow even more on the negativity. And now we are even more focused on that negative state. So what we want to do is we want to step away from that looping. We want to bring a halt to it. We want to break the loop. And we want to do it in an easy and effortless way. And there are ways to do that. And of course, the first step, as always, is just with awareness. To have awareness that we are actually in this state of being, and that we are obsessing about our negative state, and then to say, oh, I know I need to break this habit. I need to break this looping, and I'm going to step out of it, and I'm going to halt that. And last week we talked about some ways that we can break that looping, and one of the best ways we can do that is with surrendering to our emotions, coming back to the present moment, getting away from investing our time and our energy into a future that is unknown, into a state that we do not want to draw towards ourselves. And we talked a bit about the fact that our energy is a finite resource, like our money is finite, and we don't spend our money haphazardly. We only purchase things that will be of benefit to ourselves. So like money, we should look at how we're spending our time and our energy and our focus, and asking ourselves, if I really resonate on this, if I really obsess about this state, what am I getting? Well, I'm getting negative emotions in my body, and I don't want to be there, and I don't want to feel that. And I'm also drawing towards me the event that I don't really want to show up in my life. I'm creating more probability and possibility that what I am obsessing about, that I don't want, to actually show up in my life, because that is how things work. We get in our life what we think about. We attract to ourselves what we resonate to and what we think about, because that is how our awareness is derived, and that is how we vibrationally attract situations, people, and circumstances to ourselves. So like wasting our money on something we don't want to waste our energy and our time. So we have awareness of what we're doing, and what do? We bring ourselves right gently back to the present moment, to the now, and we realize that in this exact present moment that we're in, that we are safe and secure, and we have gratitude for all that we have, and we bring ourselves right back here, and we feel the enjoyment of that release. So one of the things we talked also about is a little bit why do we not want to be in these negative states, besides the fact that we don't like the feeling and we don't want to draw the event to ourselves. We know that over time, predominantly living in a negative state will downregulate our health of our body. It's been proven with science that our gene expression is triggered predominantly by our environment. And what I mean by environment is not only the cleanliness of our air and the health of our food and that thing, but also our emotional environment, our thoughts and our emotions. That environment, that internal environment that we're creating is directing our body either towards health or towards disease. So there's a long-term play here that we really want to be aware of and say, I want to direct my body, obviously, towards health. And I can do that so well, so magnificently, so easily by changing my thoughts and therefore my emotional state. And the other reason that we don't want to live in these negative emotions for long periods of time, that we know over time, if we continue to be associated with anger, let's say, or fear or frustration, then we really then start to develop what we first call is a mood. And then we live in these moods for long periods of time. And then we eventually start to become that personality. And we don't want to show up in that type of personality either. We don't want to be known to be that kind of person. We don't want to show up predominantly as that kind of person. So from a personality perspective and how we want to show up to our family, to our friends, to our society, it is better for everyone that we do this shift as well. And we go right back to the personality upon which we were meant to be on this earth. So with that in mind, we know that we want to detach ourselves from any of this negativity once it starts to show up. And we talked last week about surrendering. And I found a great quote today from Eckhart Tolle regarding surrendering. And for those who don't know who Eckhart Tolle is, he is a spiritual teacher and a best-selling author of 2 books that I've read, and I'm sure most of you have read, The Power of Now and A New Earth. So he is regarded as one of the world's best spiritual and best-selling authors out there. He is actually a Canadian resident now. He lives out in Vancouver. And his quote with regard to surrender is this: surrender is not weakness. There is such great strength in it. Only surrendered person has spiritual growth. And through surrender, you will be free internally of the situation. You may find that situation changes without any effort on your part once you surrender, and you will be free. So just think about what he says there, is that through surrender, you will be free internally. And I think that that is so powerful for us to hear, is that we want to have so much control of our experience, of our environment, of what's happening. And we do a lot of, again, work outside of ourselves to see if we can manipulate and control and caress these situations. And really, it's by surrendering to them and to allowing them and to releasing to them that we will experience that upon which exactly what we're asking for, which is the sense of calmness and the sense of release and the sense of freedom and the sense of internally being free. So let us now talk a little bit about the trick about emotional releasing. So we talked about surrendering, and what I want to talk about also today is a little different way to think about our emotions. So that the idea here is that I want to get us out of the idea of emotions being scary, of emotions being something that we have to be afraid of, because while we're going through this pandemic, we are being asked to do our own internal work. This is an opportunity for us to do our own internal work besides the work that has to be done, that we're being asked to do globally with regards to just settling things down, letting the earth take a rest, letting us all kind of get back to square one for all intents and purposes. We are also being asked to do our own internal work. And what I want to encourage people to really grasp is that they don't need to be afraid of it, because if emotions start to rise up to the surface, because we are predominantly being stuck at home and we're really interacting with only a very small number of people, and we're not able to distract ourselves in the ways that we have been distracted before. We were so able to just make ourselves busy before. And if something started to rise up for us that made us uncomfortable, it was just so easy to, you know, go out and, grab a coffee with someone and talk about their problem instead. Or, like I say, go to the gym and put another hour in the gym, or just, bury ourselves in some extra work. Anything to kind of keep that emotion down. And what I'm saying now is that since some of those levers have been taken away from us, we can't just drive in our car and go to a meeting, um, and these emotions are starting to pop up. What I want to do is to allow people to understand that this is something they can step into and they can experience. So one of the another ways I like to really talk about emotions is to talk about, first of all, is I want everyone to understand that we are all meant to live life in a very joyous and in a very healthy state. That we all come to this life experience, to this earth experience that we're having, all entitled to live in ease, to live in abundance, to live in joy, to live in magnificence. That is our life destiny, and we all get that destiny handed to us. It is how we choose to frame up life, and it's how we choose to go through life. And it is the culmination of our decisions, conscious and unconscious, that really directs how we experience this life. But we are all destined to be in ease and in abundance. And so our emotions are really an indicator that tells us, are we in line to our abundance and our magnificence? So I'd like you to think of them now as very similar to any kind of piece of equipment that you have in your home or in your possession that has some sense of an indicator light on it. And then that indicator tells you or gives you enough knowledge and awareness for you to take action. And the best example I can come up with is our cars. We all own a car. We all know what cars are like, or trucks. And they all come with a dashboard. And on that dashboard are various indicator lights. They tell us our gas, where we are with our gas. They tell us if our oil is running low. They tell us if our engine is overheating. There's various indicator lights on that vehicle. And we would want that, and we want that. We would not buy a vehicle that did not come with that. And when one of those lights starts to turn on or does turn on, then what we do is we see it as a signal for us to take some action. We get inquisitive. I wonder what's really going on. And we open the hood, if we're so inclined with mechanics, or we go to someone who knows how to open the hood, and we take a look inside and we make the appropriate adjustment. I just had a recent experience where my engine light came on my car, and it was time for me to get it in and get some service done, and now it's running brilliantly. So our emotions are like that dashboard. Our emotions are like those indicator lights. It's like that engine light that came on for me is my emotional state telling me when it's turned on, predominantly with the negative emotions, is telling me that I am not living up to my magnificence, meaning I am thinking, I'm obsessing, I am directing my life away from ease and joy and abundance. And that what I need to do is to look under my hood and to find out and ask myself, what am I focusing on? What am I dreaming up? What am I obsessing about? Am I really dealing with thoughts that are bringing me or leading me towards the life that I truly want? Or are my thoughts really tending away from what I want? And every time that our negative emotions show up, there is an awareness that our thoughts have fallen off the table. Our thoughts are not about our life the way we want it to be, the life that we want, the life that we're destined for, the life that we dream about. Our thoughts are going away from that state. We are tending to put our focus outside of ourselves in the present moment, and we are tending to really think about things that we don't want to show up. So our emotions are like that beautiful dashboard on our car. They're just ways for us to have awareness, to not get upset, to just have awareness that we need to change our thinking. So just like you aren't obsessed upset that you have indicator lights on your dashboard, and that you're happy they come on because they give you well in advance some warning for you to make some changes that will avoid your car from being completely not worth anything and not functioning. They give you enough indication to go get some work done, to take some action. And then similarly, our emotions are just giving us some indication well before it's problematic that it's time for us to do some investigation into our thinking. So with that metaphor, with that framing, I'm hoping that you can now welcome in your emotions and use it as a basis of inquisitiveness and a basis of taking some indication take some deep thinking into what's going on and to make some adjustments to your thinking so that you can then have that indicator light turn off or that emotion turn off, and you're back into that natural state of ease and joy. So now that we have just a little less than 5 minutes left, let's go into some time together to just surrender to our emotions and to surrender to the present moment and to bring our breathing back to the now. So we will just take this opportunity now to just take a deep breath. We've digested a lot of information today, and now it's time to just settle in and focus our attention on ourselves and our present moment and our body. So I encourage all of you to close your eyes and just take a nice deep cleansing breath. And with that next breath that you take, when you exhale, I would like you to drop your awareness right down into your belly. And with your eyes closed, I want you now to just relax. And I want you to choose a posture where you're the most comfortable, whether that is sitting or standing or laying. Good. And now bring your awareness to whatever is going on for you right now at this moment. Just bring your awareness to whatever is going on for you right now. And give in to the weight of your body. Good. And allow your weight to sink into the point of contact that you're having with either the floor or the chair or the bed. And notice if you have any tension or resistance towards any painful or unpleasant sensations. And if you do, then just gently turn in towards them and breathe into them and accept them as best you can. And if you begin to tense around your breath, then that's okay, and just allow it to let go a little bit more and soften into gravity. And notice any thoughts as they arise into your mind, and see if you can let them go as well. Just have awareness and let them come and go. And don't identify with any of the content. Observe them and see as if you can imagine them to be like clouds in the sky, just floating by. Good. And notice any feelings or emotions if they arise as well. And can you let those come and go as well? Include everything within your awareness and your perception. And now allow your awareness to gather around the experience of your breath. Just draw your awareness towards the experience of your breath deep in your body. And drop your awareness inside the breath. And feel the different sensations in the front, in the back of you, and the sides of you. And can you feel your awareness within the flow and the movement of your breath? Just have awareness of the flow of your breath. And use the breath to anchor your awareness into the present moment. Breathing in the body and noticing each inhale and each exhale again and again. And each time you notice your mind has wandered, just guide it back to the breath. And now gently, with awareness, include your awareness into your whole body. And feel the weight and the shape of the body as it sits or stands or lies. And if you've got any pain or discomfort, just make sure your awareness stays open. And now cultivate acceptance for all of your experience in the now. And befriend it, welcome it, accept it. And again, use the breath to anchor your awareness into the present moment. Breathing in the body and noticing each inhale and exhale again and again. And just notice how you always have access to your breath for relaxation and release. And now, taking the greatest care of you, you can come back to the present moment and open your eyes. Good. So as we let go of our emotions and our thinking, and we come to the present moment, notice how we can find appreciation for the present moment and for all that we have, and we can spend our energy and time on the current moment and not in anxiety or stress, and we can live fully and completely in the present moment, appreciating all that we have and how perfect everything is right now. So I would like to thank you for this time today, and I trust that it is useful for you to spend this time together and for you to just have some time to reflect upon your emotions and release them and get some learnings. And I look forward to Wednesday at the same time for us to get together again. I'm wishing you all a very good day, and for everyone, stay safe and stay home. Bye-bye for now.